That's what it does to you, that booze. A little fella coming out of a bar, sneaking out of a bar, and the priest comes up to him and says, "What are you doing? What have you been doing in that bar?" He said, I just dipped in to have a little drink there. And the priest says, "But I thought you were a teetotaler." He said, "I am, but I'm not a fanatic." You got the other fella. The drunk of the town. And the priest goes up to him one day and he says, "May I say what a great pleasure it was as I stood in the pulpit last night to see you come through the church doors and go into that confessional box. After an absence of 23 years, may I say how good it was of you to come into the church." And the fellow says, "So that's where I was." The other fellow gets drunk one night, comes home, and his wife wakes him up in the morning. She said, "You were really drunk last night." He said, "I wasn't." She said, "You were." He said, "I wasn't." She said, "You were. I sat here for half an hour and looked at you try to get your trousers off." He said, "Well, that doesn't prove I was drunk." She says, "Over the top of your head." The other little fellow goes into a furrier shop. I said, I'd like a muff. I'd like a muff for to keep my hands warm." The fellow said, "Certainly, sir. What for?" He said, "I told you, for to keep my hands warm." I get the two fellas coming back from a night out, very drunk, and it's pouring with rain. And they're going by this bus garage. And they said, why don't we go in on a still bus? A double-decker. I like to smoke. and we'll drive home. You get in there, and I'll have a look up. The other fellow climbs through the window, and he's in there for about a half an hour. And the fellow outside, all he can hear is this terrible banging and clanging and crashing on the inside. And after half an hour, the fellow comes out and he says, "There isn't a 58 bus in there." He said, "Well, why didn't you take a 61 and we could have gone off the roundabout and walked?" You get the NATO exercises, naval exercises. And the lady who was a guest upon aboard this ship. Upon aboard the ship? Aboard the ship, walks up to one of the captains and she said, "Tell me, why do you have HMS upon your cap?" He said, "Madam, that means Her Majesty's ship." She goes over to an American. She said, "Would you tell me why you have a USS?" He said, "Ma'am, it's a great pleasure. That means United States ship." She goes over to a little Italian who's had too much of the wine. And she said, "Why do you have IMB on your cap?" He said, "That means it's my boat." English fellow in Ireland and doesn't understand Irish measures because we have the imperial measure over there. It's about twice your double. He gets into a pub one night. "I think I'll pop in and have a drink here with the native." And he gets flattened. And by the time he comes out of the pub, dawn is breaking. And he's miles from wherever he's going. And coming up the road is a little donkey and cart. And he goes, "Excuse me." And the little fellow in the cart looks at him and says, "What's wrong with your thumb?" "Nothing, it's a gesture." "Would you give me a lift, please?" He said, "Ah, yes, get in there." He said, "Where are you off to?" He said, I'm going to the market with the pig." To the juggling on there. And he spots a shotgun in the bottom of the cart. And the English are very wary of Irish fellas with guns. He said, "Well, why do you have the gun down there?" And he said, "Well, you see, when I'm driving to the market in the early morning, you'll see pheasant and partridges and hares and rabbits, so I just pick it up and shoot them and take it home for dinner. Very simple." And just then, a truck comes around the corner and goes, boom, right into the donkey and cart, and carries off. And the little farmer picks himself up at the ground and he looks at his donkey that's lying there with a broken leg. And he goes, "Oh, God, there, Neddy. Look at me, little donkey with his broken leg. I'll have to put you out of your misery." And he picks up the shotgun, boom, looks at the pig, which is lying there with blood pouring out of the nostrils. And he goes, "I'd never get a penny for that at the market." Boom, looks at the Englishman who's lying in the ditch. Broken leg, broken arm, sliced across the head. He said, "Are you all right?" He said, "I've never felt better in my life." A little drunk in St. James's Park. I don't mean you get a little drunk. I mean there's a little drunk. And he's looking at the duckies. I wouldn't mind having one of them ducks for my dinner. If I get a big stick and I bang one of them ducks on the head, I'm going to take him home and eat him. And there's one little duck sitting by himself, out of the water, nodding. So he gets a big stick and he runs over to the duck and he goes, boom, and the duck goes. He picks takes it up by the neck and tears all the feathers out of it. Plucks it. And just then, as he's finished plucking the bird, he sees a park keeper walking towards him. So he throws the duck into the lake. And the water revives the duck. And there is this totally bald duck walking around. The park keeper comes up and says, "What are you doing?"
I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here looking at the duckies in the water. Going quacky, quacky, quacky.
He said, "You are trying to steal one of our ducks."
I'm not trying to steal the ducky.
He said, "There was a bald duck in the water. And there's all these feathers around you."
Explain that. He said, "Well, I was just sitting here having a talk with the ducky. And then he said he'd like to go for a swim. And I said, okay, I'll mind your clothes, by the way."
Have you ever actually thought, where are we all going? I don't mean the afterlife. I know where I'm going. I mean now. This very moment. Where are we all going? We're all going around in ever-diminishing circles. Faster and faster and faster. And getting nowhere. We have cars which can zoom along at 70 miles an hour. Along roads which bypass every beauty spot. And we arrive at our destination and we have saved 30 minutes. And what do we do with the 30 minutes we saved? We spend it telling people how much time we saved on the way out. I knew an American lady who had every time-saving device she could possibly have. Washing machines, cookers, waste disposal, even a toothbrush. Electric toothbrush. And she was 73 years of age. And she reckoned that she had saved so much time in her life she was only 41. And I said to her, what do you do with all this time you've saved? And she said, I sit here and go out of my mind with boredom! So what I'm trying to say, if you have time, don't waste it. Time is precious. Use time at every opportunity. And if the opportunity is not there, create it. Good morning, madam. I'm your local florist. And do you realize that 9 months tomorrow is Mother's Day?
But I don't understand. I'm not a mother.
Exactly. You haven't got a moment to lose.
I have kept my promise, Salome. I give you the head of John the Baptist. Now you must carry out your part of the bargain.
As I promised, for the head of John the Baptist, I will dance the dance of the 7 veils.
O Lord, may your strength be with the House of York in the coming battle with the House of Lancaster.
O Lord, may your strength be with the House of Lancaster in the coming battle with the House of York.
I am king by divine right. My cause is just. God lead us to victory and help us to crush the enemy. Amen.
Well, 2 o'clock, and things are getting better. Three times in our lives that we are sure to go to church. Once when we're christened, once when we get married, and once when we are buried. And every time I go by and see somebody getting married, I think to myself, 2 down and 1 to go. And we are very lucky in the Western society that we are only allowed 1 wife at a time. Because wives are very, very expensive. Arab Muslims are allowed anything up to 4 wives at a time. Are you surprised at the cost of oil? And Solomon had 10,000 wives. He must have been out of his mind. Can you imagine the din at the breakfast table in the morning? By the time he said good morning to everything and every one of them, it was tomorrow night. And if you consider that a little bit further, when he made love to the first one, and then he made love to the second one, and the third one, and the 4th one, and he reached the 10th, 1,001. And he got back to the first one, she was 28 years older. And he'd say, who are you? We tend to scoff at marriage. But marriage, to the highest and to the lowest people in the land, is the one day that they will always remember in their lives. Or if you look at the other side of the coin, it's the one day of their lives that they will never forget.
You, James, Sidney, Albert, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife.
Yes, I do.
You, Daphne, Margaret, Evadne, take this man to be your lawful wedded husband.
I do.
Yes, man, have you the ring?
Oh, come on. Oh, yes. Right.
Place the ring upon her finger. I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Luggage? Wait. Very well with the trail. You? Nice. Yeah. Look fine for you.
Very nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's a film camera. Look at that! Come here, darling. Why do we always go off at the best parts? The little Irish lady in the north of Ireland. Does it speak like that in the north of Ireland? She gets a job with a Protestant backer. And she's always saying, yes, sir, I'll do the dishes for you. Yes, sir, I'll make the bed. Yes, sir, I'll keep... And he said, why do you always call me sir? She said, I don't know what to call you. He said, you're Catholic, aren't you? Yeah. He said, well, what do you call Catholic priests? She father. I call him father. He said, well, you can call me father, if you'd like to. She said, yes, sir. She walks away, she says, call him father. Him a father with a wife and 6 children. They get the miner walking down the road, and the priest goes up to him and he says, I haven't seen you in the church for a while. He said, I was thinking that, Father, I haven't seen you down to mine. They get a little Catholic girl and a Protestant boy, friends, and they go swimming in the water together in the river. And they decide that they will swim in what in Ireland we used to call the pelt. Total naked. And he said, will you take it all up? And they come swimming into water. So they both stripped, only a little thing. And they look at one another in amazement. And he looked at and she looked. And he said, I didn't know Catholics and Protestants were that different. They get the 2 fathers-in-law who are great friends. One son has married the other's daughter. And he's saying, hey, Sean, your daughter married my son 5 years ago. He said, that's right. They've been married for 5 years and they've got no children. You'd think it's hereditary. I'm going to talk to the priest about it. And he explains to the priest that they've never had any... And the priest said, well, don't worry, because I'm going to Rome. And I will go to St. Peter's and I will light a candle for them. And he goes to Rome and he lights the candle. And within 9 months, she gives birth to triplets. And within the next 9 months, she gives birth to another set of triplets. And within the next 9 months, she gives birth to 2 sets of twins. And after the 4 of them are sitting in the bed with her, and the other 6 are looking at her, She looks at her husband and she says, "For God's sake, will you go to Rome and blow out that candle?" Okay, the young priest taking his very first ever confession. And a fellow comes in and he says, "Father, it's 2 weeks since my last confession, and I'm terribly sorry to have to confess that I stole 24 bottles of whiskey." And the young priest said, 24, well, can you just hang on a second there, please? And he leaves and he goes to the canon because he doesn't know what to do. I mean, what sort of penance do you give to somebody who's stolen 24 bottles of whiskey? So he goes to the old canon and he says, "I have a fellow in the confessional box who's stolen 24 bottles of whiskey, and I don't know what to give him." And the canon says, "Don't give him more than £1 a bottle." Despite what I said, I do think that people are much more tolerant towards religion than they were, say, last week. 400 years ago, it would have been a very dangerous thing to tell religious gags. If I'd have been alive then, I wouldn't have been. Actually, I might have been the first atheist martyr. Come to think of it, I still might be. Ah, well, as I say, in for a penny, in for a pound. What did you do before you came into the priesthood?
Oh, actually, I was a supermarket manager.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I bet there must be a difference between a busy store and a half-empty church.
Oh, not really, you know.
No?
No, much the same.
Naughty thoughts, brother. So far in this series, I haven't told a ghost story. And as this is the last show in the series, I think tonight is the night. If I may, I would like to tell you a true story. A story about a house that's had a bad room, what they call in Ireland a bad room. It had an atmosphere. People were loath to go into it. They didn't wish to have anything to do with it. And if people heard about this room and they wanted to go and see it, the people of the house would say, "Please, don't go near the room. And if you do go near the room, always go with somebody, because it has some sort of fatal attraction to draw those people in." And people would open the door and let people look into the room. And the sense of attraction to that room was like a magnetic pull. They would want to go in. And that is why the other person was there, always to stop them. And then one young, foolish man decided against all advice that he would spend the night in the room. And people pleaded with him, scolded him, shouted at him, screamed with him, fought with him. And he said, "No, I will spend the night in the room to rid us all of this superstitious rubbish." And he went into that room. And the door, without any human being touching, closed behind him. And they all waited. And they all waited until about 6 o'clock in the morning. And from that room, there was the most horrendous, soul-destroying scream. And they all rushed up to the room, and they opened the door, and there was nothing there at all. No sign of the young man, except a pungent smell of animal and brimstone mixed together. And lying on the floor was a shoe. That's all, nothing more. And the story was printed in the paper, and people came to hear about it. And eventually it got to the ears of one of the great Jesuits, who was an exorcist. And he decided that he would go to this room, and he would attempt to exorcise this evil this presence, this prince of darkness, whatever it might be, that was in that room. And again the people pleaded. They said no, and said, no, I shall do it. But if by chance something happens to me in this room, if the pattern is the same, one of my shoes will remain in that room. And whatever happens, whatever is the secret of the evil of that room, I will write that upon my shoe. And if I'm not there, look to my shoe, because the answer to this puzzle will be upon the shoe. And he arrived, entered the room, and the door closed behind him. And the people sat downstairs by a fire, and they waited. And the clock, this large grandfather clock, ticked away the time, quietly. And from upstairs they could hear the priest praying. They could smell the incense. And at about 4:30 in the morning, they looked at the dog who was asleep by the fire. And in his sleep he had begun to growl. And as they looked at him, the hackles on the back of the dog began to rise. And he gave out the most baleful of hound-like howls. And from the room upstairs, they heard the scream. And they ran up with lights, with crosses, with crucifixes, with holy water. Open the door! And all there was this pungent smell and a shoe. And they ran to the shoe, they picked it up, they turned it over, and burnt into the sole of that shoe were 2 words: size 9. You might remember, in one of the earlier shows, we did a sketch regarding King Arthur and his stone. Now, all professional artists make mistakes. The only difference is that our mistakes are put down on a piece of tape or film. And we don't normally make many mistakes, but in this particular sketch, we made quite a few. And I thought it made us laugh, so just by chance it might make you laugh. So here it is.
Ready. 3, 2, 7, take 2.
Action. What game do these knights play, Merlin?
'Tis no game, Arthur. 'Tis the legend.
Legend?
Aye. 'Tis said he who? I'm sorry.
3, 2, 7, take 3.
What game do these knights play, Merlin?
'Tis no game, Arthur. 'Tis the legend.
Legend?
Aye. 'Tis said that he who draws...
3, 2, 7, take 4.
What game do these knights play, Merlin?
'Tis no game, Arthur. 'Tis the legend.
Legend?
Aye. 'Tis said that he who draws the stork...
We have, in the present series, done something like 200 sketches. And it's not that we're running out of sketches, is so much as that we're running out of time to show the sketches. And I have now a group of sketches that if I don't show you now, they will never, ever be seen. They will be taken from here down into the bowels of this building and placed upon a shelf to gather dust and to be forgotten and never, ever to be seen. And I think that's sad, because part of our souls are on those sketches. And because it's so sad, I'm not going to let it happen.
Very reception, yeah? Oh, thanks. I see. Thank you. Your room is ready. You can go out now, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Get out of here.
That's it. Help! Help! Help!
Brothers, I ask you now to endorse the official strike action of your executive in the usual way with a show of hands. All those in favour?
It'll work. It'll work. Help! Help! Help!
Corporal Marsh, you're charged with cowardice, deserting your post, and turning your back on the Indians. What do you have to say?
I'm not guilty, sir. I'm not a coward, and I never turn my back on Indians.
There'll have to be an inquiry into this, Corporal. You're dismissed. Fall out.
Sir.
Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, my lord. We find the defendant guilty.
You have been found guilty of the charges brought against you. Do you have anything to say before I pass sentence?
No, my lord.
May I say that I am shocked and dismayed to learn that one of the country's top auctioneers has not only been proven to be a cheat and a liar, but somebody who has betrayed the trust of innocent individuals. I sentence you to 6 years imprisonment. 7, 8, 9. Do I hear any advance? 9. 9 once, twice, 3 times. 9. I sentence you to 9 years imprisonment. Rubbish! I'm free! I had a friend in Ireland, little farmer, widower. All his children had spread themselves across the world, and he was quite happy to farm this little bit of land he had and make poteen, little still in the barn. And he used to make his little drop of poteen. You know what a poteen is? Illicit whiskey. Ishkaba, the water of life. And then one day he got a telegram from one of his daughters which said, "Daddy, I'm coming home and I'm bringing me new husband with me." And the new husband was an amateur ventriloquist. So he goes and he meets them at the station in a horse and cart and they're jogging along. And she turns to her husband and she says, "Do a little bit of that ventriloquism for the father. He's never seen it." And there's a big cow leaning over the fence. And the ventriloquist looks at the cow and says, "Good morning, cow." Throws his voice and the cow says, "Good morning, ma." And the father said, "Did you see that? The big moo cow spoke." And the ventriloquist looks at the cow and he said, "What do you do for man, cow?" Throws his voice and the cow says, "I give milk, butter, cheese, eat the grass, give birth to little cows. I'm a very handy cow." And the ventriloquist said, "You are indeed." "Bye, cow." Throws his voice and the cow says, "Goodbye, man." And they go off down the road a little bit further. And she says, "Do it again. The father's not convinced that the animals can talk." And there's a big pig leaning over the fence. That's all the animals do in Ireland all day is lean over the fence. The ventriloquist looks at this pig and says, "Good morning, pig." Throws his voice, and the pig says, "Good morning to yourself, sir." And the father says, "Did you see that? Dirty pig talking English." And the ventriloquist says, "What do you do for man, pig?" Throws his voice, and the pig says, "I give ham, bacon, pork, eat all the garbage, give birth to little pigs. I am the handiest, dirtiest pig in the whole of Ireland." The ventriloquist looks at his pig and he says, "Goodbye, pig." Throws his voice and the pig says, "Goodbye to yourself, sir." And an hour later, the three of them are sitting in the house. The farmer, his daughter, and his son-in-law, having a cup of tea. And the father looks at the son-in-law and he says, "What sort of a job have you got?" And he said, "I'm in the customs and excise." "Customs and excise? Are you a customs officer? Are you?" Will you excuse me just for a second now, please? I've got to do some chores around the barn. He's out into the barn. He starts to dismantle his still. He digs a big hole in the floor of the barn. He's sticking all the illicit whiskey in there. And he's covering all over. And he looks up, and there's a hen looking at him. He says, "You tell your man about that, I'll cut your throat." No, I think it's time to go, isn't it? Time to knock off.